Has an interdimensional being been found inside the Large Hadron Collider over at CERN? Well, that's what we're going to be talking about today, and we've got someone joining us.
Hi!
She's the other namesake on the channel. No one seems to know who she is, and, well, here she is, Lainey.
I'm back, bitches!
Okay, so we're going to get straight into it. So, first of all, who are CERN?
CERN are the European Organisation for Nuclear Research, known as CERN. They're an intergovernmental organisation that operates the largest particle physics lab in the world. They were established in 1954, based in Meyrin, western suburb of Geneva, on the France-Switzerland border. Comprises of 23 member states, and Israel admitted in 2013 that it's the only non-European full member. CERN is an official United Nations General Assembly observer.
Now, CERN have discovered some pretty wacky stuff over the past however long that they've been running, since 1954. So what's that, 60, 70 years?
I feel like I've only just learned about CERN in the past, less than 10 years.
So have I. But they have what's called a Large Hadron Collider. Now, the idea of the Large Hadron Collider is to basically send particles around a massive ring at almost the speed of light. Okay, they get like 99.999% recurring to the speed of light, so they're almost there, to try and replicate the beginning of our universe, to be able to study it, to see how our universe developed, evolved, and continues to evolve. Okay, so that's the whole point of the Hadron Collider. But they've also found some other things along the way, like other dimensions, or they're trying to find other dimensions. But recently, they discovered something even crazier. But first, let's take a look at what the Hadron Collider is capable of. Lainey, plug yourself in.
Consider me plugged.
This guy does a far better job than I could possibly do of trying to explain how the Hadron Collider works, and he even shows it, so let's watch him.
What happens if you put your head inside of a particle accelerator and turn it on? Kinda like this Hot Wheels loop, particle accelerators accelerate particles to nearly the speed of light. And this guy, Anatoly Bugorsky, was unfortunate enough to stick his head inside of one while it was on, and this is what happened to him. Scientists use these giant circular machines, also known as atom smashers, to see how subatomic particles like protons behave while traveling at the speed of light, doing tests like crashing them into each other and other complex science stuff. And yes, I said at the speed of light. Well, almost. They get it up to like 99.99999% the speed of light, because 100% is still impossible at the moment, but hey, we're getting close. They do this by accelerating subatomic particles like protons in a long circular vacuum tube that's colder than space. They start off in a smaller loop where they use electric currents from really strong batteries to get the particles moving fast, and magnets to keep the particles on a stable path as they curve through the loop to be fed back into the batteries and get even faster. This feedback loop gets them fast enough until they're fed into a bigger loop to reach even higher speeds. And they inject a second set of protons here so they can play Ring Around the Rosie with each other and just keep getting faster. They're then fed into the final loop where the two sets of protons are accelerated in opposite directions so they could collide into each other and do science. This right here would be the Large Hadron Collider, the biggest particle accelerator in the world at 27 kilometers in circumference.
That's mad. They are literally spinning atoms at 27 kilometers at the speed of light.
But I also would love to see the Large Hadron Collider. Just saying.
Me too. But this is crazy, right? Because they travel around this ring like 11,000 times per second.
Yeah.
That's how quick these atoms are going. So you can see like the science.
Where the protons travel the entire circular distance more than 11,000 times per second. So yeah, it's fast. The LHC is in Switzerland and contains 1.8 billion kilometers of wires. Enough to go the distance of not around Earth, but of Earth's entire orbit around the sun. Twice, or from the Earth to the Sun and back 6 times. Anyway, so that's cool and all, but now that we know what a particle accelerator is, let's put our head inside of one. On July 13th, 1978, a scientist named Anatoly Bugorsky was working on the U-70 synchrotron particle accelerator just outside of Moscow, which is much smaller at 1.5 kilometers, but the speeds are pretty much the same. So there was an experimentation room in this lab where the accelerated protons are exposed to open air for a brief moment, and they had bare safety measures in place to make sure that no one walks in when a live beam is going. But Bugorsky showed up to the room 5 minutes earlier than he was supposed to. Somebody forgot to lock the door, and the emergency light that signaled a live beam burnt out. Say hello to Murphy's Law. He enters the room and doesn't realize there's a beam of protons traveling through the open air in front of him because they're both silent and invisible. He bends over to have a look at a few monitors and accidentally puts his head directly into the beam of trillions of protons traveling basically the speed of light. That's 76 billion electron volts of energy passing through his skin, skull, brain, and out the other side. But the craziest part? He felt no pain at all. and there wasn't even a hole in his head. That's because protons are so small that they physically passed in between the empty space of the atoms in his own head. And the voltage didn't stop in his head, it just passed right through it, which is why he didn't die from 76 billion volts. All he reported was his entire field of vision being overcome with a light brighter than 1,000 suns, but a light that only he could see. This light was inside of his head. He kinda tripped out for a sec, but once he realized he was fine, he logged the experience and went home without telling anyone. But the next day his head started to swell, so he went to the doctors and they calculated the exact path the protons passed through his head in. Although he survived, in the years to come he lost hearing in his left ear, started having episodic seizures, and the nerves on the left side of his face were destroyed, freezing his facial expression in place for the last 45 years.
Now, that was obviously a little bit of a tangent towards the end, but I thought it was interesting. But that kind of gives you the idea of what the Large Hadron Collider does. And obviously, like I said before, the idea is they're trying to replicate the big boom, or the Big Bang, at the start of our universe, and to try and replicate it to see if they can learn anything from it and the evolution of our galaxy. But they also stumbled across accidentally some other things as well. One of these things being ghost particles that were detected.
Literally so excited when I read about this.
Yeah, Lainey actually sent this to me. That's why I've got her on the video, because she's the go-to gal. And that it was detected inside the collider for the very first time. Now, ghostly neutrons have been seen inside the particle accelerator until now. Oh, never seen inside it. But physicists have detected ghost particles called neutrinos inside the atom smasher for the first time. The tiny particles known as neutrinos were spotted during the test run on a new detector at the Large Hadron Collider, the world's largest particle accelerator located in CERN in Geneva, Switzerland. The landmark discovery was made by CERN's Forward Search Experiment Phaser collaboration and presented in a November 24th paper in the Journal of Physical Review D. Is not known for the first time that neutrinos have been seen inside the LHC, but it's also the first time that they've been found inside any particle accelerator. The breakthrough opens up a completely new window through which the scientists can investigate a subatomic world, which is literally mind-fucking-boggling, right? Because if you think back, this is where we kind of link it to aliens. You're probably wondering, why is this relevant? But it is. This guy right here. So, if you were to think back to when David Grush spoke about aliens and all of his, happenings or things that he's witnessed, he never referred to them as extraterrestrials or aliens. He referred to them as interdimensional beings. Who else accidentally stumbled across interdimensions? CERN. Who else accidentally found ghost particles inside a machine that can find interdimensions? CERN. Interdimensional being inside the CERN Hadron Collider. That's where my head went.
Just literally, this is the same as I'm the same, but imagine if they can get it up past that 99.999.
Well, that's exactly it. If they
what then will we unlock?
Exactly. What if they surpass the speed of light? You literally have something faster than the fastest possible thing on the planet, or known to science. Anyway, because I've done a very poor job of explaining about the ghost particles, we're going to watch a few clips that really get into the nitty-gritty in a far more exciting way, because this guy's got a cheese block on his head.
This guy, I love this guy. He cracks me up. Some of the things he shares, I'm a bit like, but some things I love, so...
I have vetted these, so they are good, I must say.
The physicists at the CERN facility in Switzerland said they found a ghost. Yeah, I didn't say it. The physicists at CERN said it. They said they found a ghost. Okay, let's look into this a little bit. So they themselves said they found a 4D ghost in the particle accelerator. They measured and qualified.
Now, obviously that's something I completely forgot. On planet Earth, we've got 3 dimensions: height, width, depth. Mm-hmm. What's the 4th dimension?
That's what I want to know.
What is the 4th dimension?
An invisible structure that can divert the course of particles and create problems for particle research. Like I said, they're saying it, not me, that they found an invisible 4D structure. They describe this as taking place in something called phase space. The 4D invisible structure is a result of a phenomenon known as resonance. I hope I pronounced that.
Resonance. Renaissance. Renaissance is like Italy.
Oh, did he say Renaissance?
Yeah.
I read it.
That word right, but I'm a name butcherer. They also said the particles don't follow the exact path they want them to. They just fly away and get lost. So I don't know how this invisible 4D structure that makes particles fly in different directions is a ghost, but they said it, not me. So CERN found a ghost in their particle accelerator. Why am I not surprised? Okay, I'm just letting you know. Shabadoo-booskies.
Now,
What are we unlocking? What are we, as a human species, unlocking?
Now, I've got another video which goes a little bit more into depth, less conspiracy, more kind of like down the route
No,
of
you shouldn't.
facts.
I'm excited. I don't want it to be spoiled in my head now.
No, but the facts unlock more potential.
Okay, go. Go.
Physicists found the ghost haunting the world's most famous particle accelerator. Just recently, they were able to measure that there was some sort of being, some sort of thing going on inside of their accelerator that shouldn't have been happening.
Can I just pause it? When I think of a being, I think of like a conscious
Yeah.
entity as a or like some. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
I think
not
of
if you
of
think
a
of a-
life form, or
yeah.
I think of like a conscious entity. So if I've got that mistaken, then fair enough. But if they're describing it as a being,
Well, a being to me is not just the structure. Like, a being to me is living, conscious, well, being, a human being,
well, as an example, a human being.
extraterrestrial being.
What? And also, like, if they're releasing this, what aren't they telling us?
Exactly. That's it.
What do they know that we don't?
I mean, they are like EU ran and funded.
That's what I mean.
So
It's
you know,
like
everything has to run through the EU before it's allowed to kind of hit the public knowledge.
There's a whole like an organization of like loads of different countries, different governments that
Yeah.
have all come together with this.
Now, don't click off yet, because I've got another theory which links back to something that happened very recently and CERN, which might kind of go hand in hand with what you were talking about just there.
Right. Let's see what she's
Basically,
got to say.
it's able to move these particles in a way that they shouldn't be behaving. It's a 3D that shapeshifts over time. However, what they're saying is that there's a scientific explanation for it, that it's resonance from the particles being accelerated.
Prove it.
Those resonances can also occur due to imperfection in the magnets. They were also able to map it out. So here is the ghost of CERN.
Now, that's all well and good, but
That's a bit disappointed from what I had in my head.
let's think about more recent knowledge. All right, we obviously had the solar eclipse, which happened on April 8th.
Right.
Who fired up their Large Hadron Collider for the first time in 4 years during the solar eclipse? CERN. What reason would they have? Obviously, they said that they were doing it because they were looking for dark matter. Okay, which is obviously
I should look in my brain.
I think it makes up 25% of our known universe, but it's never been able to be studied because you can't physically capture it. So they were trying to replicate it during the so. Look, I think
was that coincidence or was that planned?
I think they would go down the route of it being a coincidence. I'm going down the route of it being planned. But let's just think about it in that kind of a context, right? You've got what's being touted as a ghost, or in my terms, an interdimensional being.
In my terms, an entity.
An entity, okay. Inside a Hadron Collider, which replicates dimensions and big bangs. All right.
And potentially time shifts.
And fired up during a solar eclipse. That which could be coincidental, yes, but you know, it when you look at it from that, when you put all the pieces of the jigsaw together, it makes a bit of a puzzling picture, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And it leaves us with a bit more questions than answers.
But the thing is, like, if you think about the solar eclipse, one, that was over America.
Yep.
Two, that was only a shadow cast across certain parts of the world.
Yep.
But obviously, CERN's in like
Switzerland. Yeah.
What relevance is there?
Well,
there must be a link.
there's got to be
if
something.
That's like.
This is where it gets really tricky. So
Tell me what you think.
we hand it over to you guys. Let us know what you guys think down in the comments below. While you're down there, be sure to jump to get the hell out of that like button if you have not already. Subscribe if you're new and tick on my little bell so you get notified whenever we upload to this channel. But in case you don't know, it's 7 PM every single day. 7 PM UK time for all my American friends. And until next time, guys, I hope that you have enjoyed. I cannot wait to see you in the next one. And until next time, we will speak to you later. Peace.
Peace.